It's hot as shit here. Anyway, I know everybody's on State of the Union stuff, but I have to write this down. So I've been looking into just the modeling agencies and their agents and people tied to the modeling agency and different contests. Because in the 80s and 90s, there was this rise of the supermodel. John Casablancas was actually credited with creating this. And what they did was they had all these contests. Look of the year, model of the year, and they were all competing. Like Ford models seems to be fairly on the up and I haven't found anything on them. But Elite Modeling Agency, like the people tied to that agency, and I made a web, and this is where they're all connected. Jeffrey Epstein ties all of these men together. You got this guy named Gerald Marie. He's still alive. He was tied to the Look of the Year. He worked at Elite. He has so many charges against him. Look him up. You also have Jean-Luc Brunel, who we know died in prison, very similarly to Jeffrey Epstein, in February of 2022. He was part of Karin, Karin models, and he was part of that Look of the Year thing. Then you also have John Casablancas, who he died in 2013 of cancer, I believe, and he was Ivanka Trump's agent. But he married, when he was 50, he married a 17-year-old. When he was married to one of the famous models, that he was married to a famous model. When he was married to her, I think it was I can't remember what her name was, but Evangelista. I can't remember if that was the one that was married to Evangelista. But anyway, while he was married, it was reported that he was having an affair with a 14-year-old. Okay. And then, and that was when he was 41. And then when he was 50, he married a 17-year-old. He died in 2013. Then you have Donald Trump. Now, Donald Trump had Trump Modeling Agency, also called T Agency. But his thing was the Miss USA, Miss Universe, Miss Teen USA, and all of that. But the other thing that's interesting, Trump was also involved in the Look of the Year contests. So the people tied to the Look of the Year contest is where you tie all these victims together. The foreign ones, because they have Look of the Year in Paris. They had Look of the Year in other countries, these agencies. And the Look of the Year program is where all of this nonsense, like photographers had charges. Again, there's so much buried in here. But Trump's modeling agency got in trouble for, immigration laws. They were breaking immigration laws by bringing women in, and they got in it didn't even shut down until 2017. I want to see they were being investigated. I want to see that. I want to see the investigations and where those went with him breaking the immigration laws, being that he's so against immigrants. Yeah. But he was breaking the immigration laws. No wonder he knows so much about how much they break the law, because he was doing it. like what a hypocrite, man. Okay, but anyway, he was also tied to that Look of the Year thing. And he's also had charges. And the thing the BBC did a report on Gerald Marie, okay? They had undercover people go in and do undercover stuff, and the undercover model was assaulted. The BBC has video of this. It was on a documentary on I don't remember if it was on the BBC or somewhere, but they have, her name was Lisa Brinkworth, and that model agency that this guy was later changed to we, O-I-U, French word we, model, Gerald Marie was tied to these people. But the other thing is, so were the victims of all of them. Like, his victims are some of the same victims that we have in Epstein's case. Okay, so Gerald Marie's victims were also victims of Epstein. I want to see that stuff, and I want to see the stuff from the modeling agency, for Trump's modeling agency. I have questions about that. The interesting thing about the ones that were accusing Gerald, the victims that accused Gerald Marie, they came forward. They came forward on camera, on TV, on the BBC, and they have, it's, oh my God. It is just insane what, it's called Beauty and the Creep, the documentary. But they have a 1999 tape where she says there were witnesses, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old sitting at the table that witnessed this as well. And there is a current case open. There's a current case open, which is why some of the files they're not going to release, because that's a current case overseas. I have so many notes here. I could do a 2-hour thing on this, but Donald McIntyre was the other person that was undercover. They had Omar Hartouch. He was a whistleblower in the case against Gerald Marie that the victims in his case were bringing against him. He was a whistleblower in that BBC, those tapes, where Lisa Brinkman went undercover with a photographer, and she was assaulted. Well, he was a whistleblower in that. He was a whistleblower. Well, he went on to open his own modeling agency in Ukraine, Supernova Modeling. And really interestingly, he is a concert pianist. And he also owns a Russian magazine called Paparazzi. And he performed at Mar-a-Lago just recently. And well, anyway, he was a whistleblower in the case against Gerald Marie in France. And that case is, I believe, still open because they have some more recent ones, because he all of these men. Well, anyway, this Hartouch guy in his, when he was helping them do that investigation, was talking about this board, excuse my language, but this pussy parade, and this contest. It was a contest. This was a contest, and somebody else mentioned the Pussy Committee. This is a contest of these rich men. That's what it is. And it's all around these modeling agencies and the look of the year and all of that. I'm sick. I am absolutely sick.